Good morning. It's good to be with you on this Friday morning. I hope you've had a great week this week. I have. It's been a good week of some rest and time spent with friends earlier this week, and then it's good to be back in the office and working on church stuff the rest of this week. It's been a really good week. It's been good to be back with you um, as we walk together through James. Today we'll read the end of James chapter 3. So we're not honestly that far from finishing James. James only has a couple more sections, so we actually may finish James early next week, so then we'll move on to what we do next. Probably move back to the Old Testament. We spent Galatians and James, the New Testament, so we'll probably move back to something in the Old Testament. But today we're going to read James chapter 4, verses 11 through 17. Read these two sections together because they really fit together quite well. Where James writes this: Do not speak evil against one another, brothers and sisters. Whoever speaks evil against one another or judges another speaks evil against the law and judges the law. But if you judge the law, you are not a doer of the law, but a judge. There's one lawgiver and judge who's able to save and to destroy. So who then are you to judge your neighbor? Come now, you who will say, today or tomorrow we will go to do such and such a town and spend a year there doing business and making money. Yet you do not even know what tomorrow will bring. What is your life? For you are a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes. Instead, you ought to say, if the Lord wishes, we will live and do this or that. As it is, you boast in your arrogance. All such boasting is evil. Anyone then who knows the right thing to do and fails to do it commits sin. Um, I do love that verse. That verse about he says there about for you are a mist that appears a little while and then only vanishes. I love that. That reminds me of that great line. I'm looking up by that Shakespeare quote that I may get wrong about life being a mist. Um, I'm trying to record and find a quote at the same time. I know some of you are already saying it. It's this line, you dummy. But I just love that notion of about how life is a mist. Life is a out brief candle. Uh, it's a tale told by an idiot full of sun and fury, signifying nothing. This notion that life is so brief. I love that's a powerful concept because we get caught sometimes in life not realizing the frailty of it or realizing the insignificance of it. And we think sometimes we have too broad, too big an understanding of who we are when there's peace that comes from our insignificance sometimes. And I think that's what this whole thing is teaching us. That's why I think these two sections go well together. Because this section is really about a proper perspective of who we are. These two sections do a good job of telling us. The first thing it says, don't judge. Don't judge. Don't speak ill of one another. Because who are you to do that? If you, there's one lawgiver and one judge. You're not God. You're not a judge. Don't judge your brothers and sisters. So it is so tempting to judge it, and I do it, you do it, we all fall into it. So he tells us, you're not God. You're not the lawgiver. You are not the one who is the judge of all things. One of my mentors used to always say, the world has a savior, and it's not me and it's not you. The savior of the world is Jesus. There is a God who is righteous who will judge all of us one day. There is a God, the Bible tells us that we will all stand before and give an account. We will stand before the throne of judgment. I am glad I am not sitting on the throne of judgment. I would not want that power. I would not want that responsibility. The world needs people to love, to point, to be salt and light, to make a difference. So he warns us today. James warns us. So then, who are you to judge your neighbor? We live in a world of judgment, don't we? We live in a world where we get judged. We live in a world where we judge others. But if we have a proper understanding of who we are, it'll keep us from wanting to judge. Because if I understand my insignificance, if I understand that I'm just a guy, If I understand how, in the grand scheme of the universe, that I am not that big a deal, I don't have to judge anybody because, frankly, that's God's call. If I understand what's my call and what's His call, it helps me to be less judgmental. There's a God who will take care of the evil. My God, my job is to point folks to Jesus. But there's a God who will take care of all the evil in the world. I'll leave that up to Him. I'll leave that up to Him. And then the second section, 13 through 17, talks about how it says, hey, don't say tomorrow you're going to go do this. Don't say, tomorrow I'm going to move to Bogota and I'm going to make a bunch of money. Don't say that. Don't say that because you don't know what tomorrow will bring. What is your life? You are a mist that vanishes. Say, if it is God's will, I will do this. And I think that's an interesting. Jesus tells us, and it's one of these things we have to kind of hold in context. Jesus tells us no king goes to war without first counting the cost. We have to know what we're dealing with. So I don't think this verse here is a warning to us to not consider the consequences of our actions, are a warning for us to not consider what we're doing. This is not telling us to be aloof and not to plan because we need to plan. We need to go through things. We need to. This is not that. What it is telling us that we need to understand that there's a lot in life that we cannot be sure of. As it is, you boast in your arrogance. All such boasting is evil. We're not God. I don't control the future. I'm not in charge of all things. I'm not all powerful. I'm not all wise. I'm not all present. I'm not God. I'm not God. So be careful. Be careful thinking you're too much. Remember I said yesterday that James reminds me of Proverbs in some ways? What does Proverbs tell us? It's the pride that goeth before the fall. James here is saying, hey, what is your life? Why are you going to sit and tell the world what you're going to do, how you're going to go do these things? You don't know. Say if God allows. And who are you to judge? Who are you to judge? Who died and made you king of the world? Nobody. God is the judge. Understand who you are. Understand who you are. And I think, friends, honestly, if we can get to the point where we have a proper understanding of who we are and a proper understanding of who God is, there's a lot of freedom that comes from that. There's a lot of freedom that comes from that because if I've got to be perfect, if I'm the judge of all things, if I'm the one who determines all things, if I'm the one that's going to plan all things, then that's a lot of pressure on me that I don't think I can stand up to. I don't think I'm that smart or that good or that wise. In fact, I know that I'm not. But when we understand who we are, then we can trust in God to take care of it. And I'll also say this is an encouragement for us to live each day to the fullest. We don't know what tomorrow holds. Tomorrow may be perfect. Tomorrow may be great. Tomorrow may have everything that it could ever wish for. Or tomorrow may be terrible. Tomorrow may be a disaster. Tomorrow may be awful. We don't know. Let's leave that to tomorrow. Let's leave that to tomorrow. The Bible tells us tomorrow has enough worries of its own. When we have proper perspective that we're not God, that we don't know everything, that we don't understand everything, that we're not perfect, that we are just a mist, then we can actually live. We can live fully today. So you won't have to judge because we're not God. We don't have to worry about knowing everything about the future because we're not God. We just are who we are. And let's trust in God to help us be who He needs us to be and be faithful. So, hey, thanks for being with us today. I hope you have a great weekend. And Monday morning we'll pick up with chapter 5. So I look forward to finishing out James next week. Hey, have a great day. See you Monday.